Hi, and welcome to another episode of Wine and Wisdom. I'm Thomas Le Hoang, and you're listening to the TL podcast, where knowledge is shared and no one takes themselves too seriously. All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How are you going?
Yeah, good, Chief.
Good.
Today's a special one because suddenly Wine and Wisdom's gone from 3 musketeers to 4. So today we're welcoming our new partner in crime, Megan Green. All right, how you doing, Megan?
Woo!
Good, thank you. Good.
Welcome, Megs.
Thank you.
He's been asking for ladies for quite a while now, so he should be happy, Chris.
We're satisfying the Me Too movement. Not saying
No, actually, no. You're probably going to raise the bar in terms of intelligence, right?
You say one thing and mate, seriously, carry shit like luggage you guys do. Fucking hell.
Well, you got what you asked for.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, don't complain, mate.
I wanted some intelligence, so we got Megs.
Hey.
If this was
that's good because
where we're going wrong, if this was a TV show, Megs would be the actual host instead of TL. That's what they're doing these days, and we'd just be the
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
Even though the footy's got a lot of female reporters and commentators now too. So
True.
All right, today we're going to start with my wine. Since I have a white, it's a Chardonnay as usual, a Patricia wine from Brown Brothers.
Brown Brothers.
Yeah. So let's try this one here and tell me that it's going to beat Cam's.
What year?
I can't tell you.
Studied hard.
Guess the year.
His hands over the label. He can't.
2018.
One of Lickland's best, mate, or
Is it?
is it? I don't know.
Oh, you'll see.
What's
you'll
the
see.
story?
Well, the thing is this. If we beat your wine, it's China doll for all of us.
Yes, but we're meant to be educating the people.
what are we drinking?
What are we drinking, mate?
We're drinking a very nice white wine from Brown Brothers. It's called Patricia. All right.
It's called Open the Wine Fridge as a walking.
Where's it
past
from?
this
What
morning.
region's it from, mate?
It's from Australia.
The Southern Hemisphere.
Oh, this show's gone downhill.
No, I'm actually looking at something
Megs, can you
that
tell
people are
us
going to
about
give
his
us.
wine?
People are going to give us, but you know, Brown Brothers. It's all in
Cheers.
Victoria.
Cheers, guys.
Welcome.
Megs,
Welcome.
yeah.
Thank you.
It sounds like we're much more comfortable. It's because we are. Bigger room.
Oh, that's nice.
It's too cold, so it needs to open up a bit. So we'll wait.
What?
Listen. He's
She
used to
agreed
the
with me, see?
he's used to the fruity. He's used to the fruity cups. What is this? Sauv Blanc.
No,
that
I'm
he
a
calls
Chardonnay.
it. So now that
Too
he's got a
cold.
bit of
Bit of
Chardonnay. He's
Fruity
having.
Lexia from the Cooler Bar cask.
Yeah, what was the
So what do you guys reckon about this Stoic book this month? I actually liked it.
Yeah, it didn't do a lot for me.
No.
A bit the opposite. Oh, there's some good ones.
So
but
we
there's a
talk
lot
about
of-
June, which is all about problem solving,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So let's start on June 1st. Who got what?
Skipped it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it wasn't a
I
great
think
month for me,
I
June.
highlighted it. I got out of it that have a mental reserve clause in
Reverse.
saying,
Reverse.
reverse in saying let's just chill our heels for a minute. No need to respond to everything straight away. Take your time to respond.
Yeah.
So you're not making those mistakes, and secondly, also give forgiveness to those people who may not understand that they're making those mistakes when they're making them too.
Yeah, well, it's probably quite nice, but I think to me, forgiveness, maybe at my level, it's a little bit difficult to do with some people. But I think that to have a reverse clause is a backup option for us. That's what he says in here. And for me, that's the most important thing. I mean, 7 months ago, you know, some of these people have hurt me tremendously. I didn't say too much, and I tried to be quite brave with this thing.
Yeah.
And it was some people in Monavale, and then we have people who have been doing the wrong thing too. And really, even though I made the decision that that was in September, you know, that was a time to really let him go because he didn't really show the traits that we wanted in our culture. It really hurt me. But then over these 7 months, having to deal with this, really, I wish I had read this beforehand, because as we coming into April now, something really has happened. And they actually have become a gift. They brought me a gift rather than a big challenge or a black hole, if you will. And I think that, had I really sat down to learn from how this happened, I probably would have learned this lesson way
Earlier.
before. Yeah. And instead, I've let them haunt my head. I've allowed them inside my own mind. I think June number 1 is a crazy page.
I think there's a saying, and I don't know who said it, is some of the best gifts become poorly wrapped. And I think that surmises sort of what they're trying to get through
Right.
here, is understand that,
Stop looking at me.
I know you skipped the page. You're coming nicely wrapped today, Cam, because you're very well...
It's a bad gift wrapped very nicely, don't worry.
No, so I think that the value of page 1 is that our mind, really only our mind can be changed.
Yep.
You can't change these things, but if you learn to change the mind, and mate, I thought that after these kind of 2 lessons, how the hell do you come up from, stand back up and learn from that?
It's also that it's okay to change your mind too.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I believe we've spoken about it before, but just because you said something 3 years ago and you believed it 3 years ago, it's okay if 3 years later you've got a different opinion. And a lot of people stick to stuff that they may not truly believe anymore for pride or ego based on what they've said before.
Yeah.
And that comes into the reverse clause as well. It's okay to go back and rethink something and come up with a different answer. I think a lot of people trap themselves that way.
Yeah.
The thing that stood out to me was nothing can stop the mind when it's operating properly. So making sure that you're always keeping yourself or your mind well looked after. And when you're in that zone, then nothing can stop you, nothing can bring you down, or nothing can affect you as much as what it would if your mind is not operating properly, so to speak.
Yep.
Thomas choked on it. So
Yeah,
must
he
have
didn't
been good.
agree.
Mine's not working properly.
Food for thought.
On that point, the mind working properly, how do you exercise the mind from that, apart from the obvious? We know physical exercise helps the mind. We know reading helps the mind. Is there much to do with problem solving and puzzles and so forth to keep you sharp as well? Or do you guys know much about that?
Yeah, my nana used to always talk about it. She did her crosswords every week. She had the little lift out in the newspaper, and she always did it. And my mum's a bit the same. She has the Sudoku books, and she finds that that's just her thing to keep her mind going.
How old's your nan?
She's no longer with us, but she was, she would have been in her 80s when she was doing
And she was sharp as a tack?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay.
It's the oldest adage ever is if you don't use it, you lose it.
Right, yeah.
That's for our brains. That's why there's so many morons everywhere we go, because they're not even stopping to use their brain for half a second.
Good point.
Something like chess is great for your
Yeah,
brain.
something is like chess, mate. Oh, I'm so bad, but it's all right. I'm going to be so good. It's okay.
I'd like to go a bit further, really, to answer your question. I think this month in the Stoic can only be used if really we use responsibility. When you hold yourself responsible to whatever happened in that month of September and now, then only you can deal with this. It's when you're running away from that and you go, well, that's his fault and they a bunch of whatever and how could they? You never fix anything. Then you can't improve. And all that you do is you're waiting for the next arrow to be flung at you.
That's day 29, mate. You've skipped the whole month.
So,
You've literally
I think that,
Good segment, boys. It's
he really started very well to me with that June 1st.
there's a bit of repeat in the month, which is why
Yeah.
I don't have a lot written down, because he touches on everything what you just said. Then in day 29, he talks again about the reverse gear. He talks about that a bit later on as well. But
Yeah,
I
he
think it's just reinforcing. I started at June the 2nd, which is Plato's view.
nice one too.
Oh, mate, and it ties into the guy we're going to talk about in the next
Yep.
segment perfectly. And it's just that realising that, sorry to be crude, but realising that you ain't shit, and in the grand scheme of things, your problems ain't shit. And it talks about if you were to stand up on a hill or be high in the sky, you wouldn't even be able to see yourself or your house or your city, or you go high enough, your state, and just realising where you actually are in the universe, which is a tiny speck on a much bigger story. So that can be used to humble you. It can be used to calm you down if you think your issues are the biggest issues in the world. I've never heard it used as Plato's view before, but it sums it up in a couple of words, and it pretty much sums up. When I say the month didn't do a lot for me, you can pretty much sum it all up on day 2, I think.
No, I don't think so. I disagree.
That's what you're here for. But
when it comes to problem
I disagree.
solving,
Probably you haven't read more than 2 pages. That's why. we have 30 days in June. But
welcome to Wine of Wisdom, Megs. Look, I think I
read 2 days yesterday and then 28 this morning. It was 28 this morning.
You know what?
How else did I know it was on day 29? Come on.
Yeah. Because it's based on problem solving, I took from this that when there is a problem, sometimes we need to pause and take that bird's eye view, just to soak in the different aspects of potential solutions or why people are getting upset over the issues that we're looking at. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons. Whether they're significant or not, or we feel are significant or not, I think it's taking a different view off that issue at that time. I think that's what I took out of that day.
Sums up 99% of my role, really, that page alone. And a lot of the things that come across in my position, but also that I see in the team, the problem is never the problem. It's always the fact that people are looking at the problem down here and how it affects them or how it affects you or how it affects you. They're not looking at it as, okay, what is this situation and how is it affecting everyone, and how can we come to a resolution that works for everyone, as opposed to just, well, no, that's what I want, and you say, well, that's what I want, but there's no common ground as to how they get to the next step, because people just are so focused in their own bubble, as opposed to taking that bird's eye view and going, wow, like.
It's probably the beauty of your role, because you are a team member, but you are external to the individual.
But can you tell us a little bit about your role? I mean, first of all,
she's pretending she read.
You work at Wiseberry.
She's got 2 words highlighted.
Yeah, hey.
As we're speaking, she's quickly reading it. And
No, just let her tell us. So what's your position?
General manager.
Okay, so what is it you do, really?
Just pretend to work, really. No. So just like overseeing the operations of the business, keeping in touch with the staff, making sure that they're all okay, procedures. Yeah, just a bit of everything, really. No 2 days are ever the same.
But you're into every kind of meetings. Every time I go up there, you're into every kind of meeting. And
yeah.
That's a lot of meetings every single day. How the hell do you do your
lot.
job?
We've definitely cut it back.
Yeah.
But I think that's where you find a lot of the gold too. So by being in with people and hearing what their challenges are and hearing the day-to-day things that people are just experiencing, you can find those solutions really easily, or you can spot the gold of, okay, there's an area that we can really improve on, or there's something that's like an idea that we could work with that is going to fix that and help the company in more ways than one.
Yeah, that's amazing. All right, so let's go back to our Stoic now. Anybody else for any other days? I mean, we don't have to do June 3rd, June 4th or whatever.
I'm on the 4th. I'm on the 4th.
I happen to like the last line of June the 3rd, right? I think we need to learn to be a good human being in the way that we act. I think that if we have that as the end goal, a lot of our actions would just toe into line. The problem is sometimes we do this, and the way you said it when you're talking to people, everyone's looking at their agenda. And even if it means that we have to wreck the entire game, but for us to get our agenda, that's what we want. And I think, what if we started by saying, all right, what would a good human being do in this situation? Then a lot of things could be avoided.
There was a lot of last month. I think the last page of May was be a good human, basically. You got one job, be that. And May was pretty much centred around that. So.
You've been practicing in the last 2 weeks about that page?
No, but I'm dressed for it.
Because we're talking about this. No, it's a serious question, though, because we're talking about reading a lot of things, but trying to apply it too, rather than reading and forgetting.
Oh, yeah, I would say it's been longer than
So you only lost one restaurant, isn't it? Like to Chris and I, isn't it?
No, but that's why we don't write text messages, because I answered your question and asked another question. I simply asked whether you were replacing Chris. That was all. And then And then I said I like it, but that was to Thomas's question.
That's why
previously.
he got here early to make sure he got his seat.
So, yeah.
All right, so what's the next one? Who's got what?
I had number 4, and it's more for I wish I had it when I was a kid, and I hope my kids get it, and kids before them is basically everyone who's gone before you has done it just as tough as you have. When you're thinking that the world's unfair and that everything's stacked up against you and that this has gone wrong and that's gone wrong and it's all on you, again, it's realising that you're not the only one in the situation, but also realising that your parents went through the same thing and their parents went through the same thing. Yep. And I think the line in it is you come from a long line of genetics that have been through the same shit. So, 1, get over it, but 2, understand that you've got the ability there to fight through just like all your previous generations did. And I think when we talk about ungrateful kids or entitled kids or, it took me to probably 30 or older to realise exactly what my parents had been through and done and come to grips with some of that, and that's why I didn't mind that page, because
I don't think a lot
of the way I could tell my 9-year-old that at the moment and he'd actually listen. It would be a huge help.
I don't think a lot of young adults or even people our age appreciate actually what our parents had been through, because I think they've been through a lot worse than we had. Fleeing countries because of war or working through depressions and so forth. I don't think that we've had it as hard.
Well, it's all based on perspective, mate.
That's right.
It's the same thing they say when your parents say, but we had to pay 27% interest. Yeah, but you're only paying off $100,000. Like, it's all
relative. I know, but I look at the hardships of life. I mean, I think Australia is one of the lucky countries. So it is all perspective. And I think, a lot of us have that entitlement because we don't stop and just thank the people who've gone before us for what they've done.
You don't have to use it as a negative either, though. It doesn't have to be, they've been through it, so I should just put up with it. Yes, you should just put up with it, but you also got to look at it as a positive. They've been through it.
Be grateful.
And they come out okay.
Absolutely.
Well, depending on the situation. I mean, I remember my mum selling dog food door to door well into her 30s. It might have even been her 40s. And now she's sitting back laughing like they've done really, really well for themselves. But I remember where they came from, and you take that as an inspiration, not as a negative and not as a, if they've been through it, I can't feel bad about it. You shouldn't, but use it in the positive.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Absolutely. Use it for some inspiration.
And then day 5's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, I like that. I like that there's an old saying, do your own push-ups.
Mate, that doesn't have to be any better than the title of it, blow your own nose. That's all I've written. Stop looking for someone else to fix your problems and start doing something about it yourself.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful message and well put, I think. In Australia, that wasn't very Australian of me, but we say you wipe your own ass, but you want someone to wipe your ass for you too. Brian
Tracy made a sticker, a clear sticker you put on a mirror. It says you're looking at the person who's responsible for your future. Yeah. That's a beautiful day. Yeah, June 5th. Megs, you're quiet over there. Where's your day? What do you pick?
What book are we reading?
50 Shades of...
there's a quote somewhere in here, and I'm going to find it, and it says...
I just asked a question.
It just says that you don't need to speak unnecessarily. That's what it says.
Talk less,
and I'm just
listen
going to
more,
try and find what day it's on.
I skipped that
Here
day.
it is. It was June 25th. It says, always say less than necessary.
Whoa, she just killed Cam in one go. Looks like one of wisdom's gone back down to 3.
You skipped it. Wow.
I skipped that page.
You missed a valuable lesson.
I told you, Meg. You're going to have to trust me. I know you knew. He only read 2 pages today, okay?
We did speak about this earlier in the week, didn't we, Cam?
Hey, you. Megs doesn't do homework.
All right, so what else did we get? June 6th was about when to stick and when to quit.
Yeah.
And Seneca always advised people to switch only once and then stick with it. 7, it was about finding the right mentors. I think we spoke about that in previous months. Yeah.
Brick by Boring Brick for June 8.
Yeah.
The heading. I like that. There's a part in there that says, do the absolutely smallest things well and practice with full effort. So we all sometimes neglect our basic training that we've done, or those small phone calls, or the touch points, or whatever it may be, just thanking those around us for what they do for us without request. I think a lot of those are in that. If teams follow the process, they tend to win, which we're in that same page. I really like that one.
Yeah, but the problem is that, the process is not necessarily about novelties and new ways of doing things. It's just that same
basics.
basic you
Boring
do all the
bricks.
time. It's boring,
Lay
right?
the bricks.
But you just have to do it.
Lay the bricks.
And understanding that you might have to lay more bricks than somebody else because we all start at different levels. Yeah, and there is going to be more boring bricks for some people than others. But at the end of the day, I mean, they talk about Nick Saban. I think that's the page that talks about Nick Saban, the football coach, is it?
Yes,
In
it
the
is. You're
process?
right. Yes.
So I did read
Yep.
the book, just so everyone's clear.
There's a process to everything, though. I think someone else mentioned it earlier, but just because you're successful at tennis, it doesn't mean you stop practicing tennis. It means you actually practice it more.
Right.
Or just because you're good at soccer doesn't mean you don't still do the laps or still do the push-ups or still do the fitness. It means you have to do more of that to keep going. So
If anyone hasn't watched that Netflix series called The Coach's Playbook, was it Playbook?
The lid's on that.
Lid's on, mate. It's going to take a while to come out with a lid on.
Oh, we're on fire early.
There's Serena Williams' coach is on there and about how they handle
Patrick
each other.
Mouratoglou.
Right. It was unbelievable. So if anyone hasn't watched that Netflix series, do yourself a favour.
Now the white wine is really opening
got
up.
better,
oh,
yeah.
now you're getting that.
It started
This
at
is
a
him trying
different
to sell
level.
his
Sell his
wine.
wine.
I'm telling you
listen,
now, I'm telling you.
We don't have to sell a wine, Chris. We have to understand each other here. We have to be this.
That's not
Not
hard.
bad.
June 9th, anybody found anything at all?
I'm not back to 11.
Solve problems
Problems early.
early.
There's a book called Eat the Frog First. So all your difficult problems, you do them first thing in the morning. Get them out of the way, either with a hang over your head. And then he's asked in that book, what if you've got 2 frogs to eat? He goes, you eat the ugliest frog first. So again, do the problems, the biggest problems early. Do them first, do them quick, get them
I
out
like
of the way.
it. I like it. Wow, what a great line.
You don't always have to wait till morning, though, either. I think it's talking about as soon as something arises.
Get it over done.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
it
Can't remember.
amplifies.
Yeah. Well, it's Jews.
Okay.
I'm not back till day 11. Is anyone before?
No, come on, mate, you go.
Go for it.
Well, it's just don't make things worse is the title of the page, and I'm a professional at it. So
Say that again.
just don't make things worse is the title of the page. You're going to stuff up. Things are going to happen. Just don't make them worse. And as a professional hole digger that I am, I see things getting worse, and I go, I can do better than that, and dig even deeper.
Local
So
cemetery could use you, I
it's
reckon.
just remembering that, on a serious note, that bad things are going to happen. The worst thing you can do is make them worse. You know, you're going to deal with grief. You're going to deal with anger. You're going to deal with situations outside of your control, and as bad as they might be, the way you react to it has the ability to make it a lot better or make it a lot worse. And it's saying,
Identifying it.
don't make it worse. And, we're all, as soon as we fly off the handle to a situation, as soon as we yell at our kid or something like that, we've made it worse. Getting angry that someone's done something wrong to us doesn't make the situation any better. And it ties into the whole theme of the Stoic philosophy and the book is it's not what happens to you, it's how you react to it. So I had that one in there. Number 12 is a good one. The trained mind is better than any script.
Yep.
And I actually came across this yesterday in training with the team. When we're training, we do a lot of role plays, and a lot of my guys are fresh. So I'll do a role play with them, and they'll hear the words I'm saying, and they grab their books and they're writing down lines, and I'm going to use that line, and I'm going to use that line. The next time we do the role play, situation changes just that little bit.
They don't fit.
And they're that keen to use that line that they use it anyway, and it makes no sense, and it's completely out of context. And I sort of had to sit back yesterday, and I hadn't read this yet yesterday. It was only today when I read it that it clicked, and I went, I was saying to the guys, your ability to adapt is the most important thing, not the fancy line you're going to use.
Yep.
You aren't listening to what's coming out of someone's mouth, so you're not responding with the right line. And it talks about on that page basically that. The ability to adapt in life is much better than knowing the script of how life is supposed to go, because when does it ever
You got to dance.
go to script? And that's true of all life, but it's in a microcosm, it's true in our offices when we're training. When you taught us the 4 steps that not that long ago, mate, everyone was that keen to use it that they're throwing it into every situation instead of getting properties on the market straight away with marketing, because these people want to move. All of a sudden we're doing the 4 steps, which is a completely different process. And so you got to be careful not to focus on the lines anyway, and 2, you got to be able to adapt. You got to be able to dance.
Do you think that's a skill that comes with time?
I think,
Experience, yeah.
I think definitely with the younger guys, definitely. I wish I knew how to train it though. I don't know how
I
to
explain
train
to
the
the guys,
adaptability.
They try and adapt too quickly, and they start to stumble. I said, to learn the words to a song, like if you're a piano player, you need to learn the music before you can make it your own. So learn the scripts and dialogues, the bass, and then start to be creative with it.
Yeah, well,
How do you train
it's
that
the
creativity?
opposite, right? Yeah, so I'm not a dance teacher. We tell the guys all the time, we've got a tap dance, we've got a dance, guys, just dance, just keep going. But that's only words. Like, what's the first step in dancing?
Or maybe I think that you said it. I think that maybe they need to be trained into thinking. And the only way that you can think is first listen. You need to listen to what it is really. And Meg said it earlier. Sometimes people talk about a problem. It's not the problem. It's something totally different. And so if really in a sales situation, they sat down and start listening to really what the objection or what the question is, then they can answer it. Yeah. And that's probably what he's talking about, adapting, right, to a situation rather than relying on a script. And I've never been in favor of scripts because, mate, if a Formula One driver followed the script, he'll never get off the track. The problem is that every driver sometimes get off the track. Every driver sometimes do things that they were not meant to do. I mean, it's part of the deal. And so the key is, if you're a Formula One driver, read the track. If there's a car stop in front of you, you're not going to use that mind. You're going to have to look, use your eyes. And as a salesperson, you're going to have to use your ears.
That's a real skill. Yeah, you can learn the new lines. They're a shiny new toy. Everyone goes, I haven't heard that close before. Yeah, but that close is useless if you don't know when to use it. And that is I don't want to put an age attached to it. It's an experience thing, but I wish I knew how to coach it because these guys have got a lot of experience to get through before they're going to be able to do it if we're just relying on experience. So
I think
I'd like to be a better dance teacher.
Emotional intelligence too comes into play with that sort of thing, and knowing when to use it, and how well to use it. Like the
I think
feeling
you
to
just,
put into it as well.
While we're talking, I'm thinking you just pack up their notebooks and don't let them train with them for a day, or you've got to get them used to not having something to rely on where they can.
What I've done a couple of times is I've gone, rightio, this is a script we're going to use, but I don't want you to use that script. Say what I want you to say, but another way, and go and do it, and see what they come up with. Right or wrong, doesn't matter. Let them try and think of something. Let them try and dance. Let them fall, doesn't matter.
Any other page, guys?
For me, 13, I like 13. Life is a battlefield.
So is love. Love is a battlefield.
I don't know. Is it negative, though, to look at
I don't think
life
it's
like
negative.
this?
I think the positive is
my book.
It gives some guidance. It says, the disciplines you should have, things you should have is discipline, fortitude, courage, clear-headedness, selflessness, and sacrifice. And which attributes lose wars are cowardice, rashness, disorganisation, overconfidence, weakness, and selfishness. So I think it's giving us a few guides to say, well, try and lose these traits and try and gain these traits to win. And whatever battle that you might be playing, and might be playing to get better at scripts, to learn how to dance during training, whichever it may be. So I picked.
I think, however, you got to look at it, TL. I get that the term battle and looking at stuff that way has a negative connotation, which might not put you in the best mind frame. But if it is a metaphor that you can use to get that point across, I mean, if you look at it a certain way, life is a battle. Everything you do, we come in here and battle each other. There's another way of looking at it.
No, you battle everyone. We don't. We're trying to share.
It's not a battle of wits because he'd be unarmed.
You can't shoot an unarmed man, mate. Yeah, I get it because we spoke about, I think the author they mentioned on that page, Richard Green or Robert Green. I just got one of his books, which is the 33 Strategies of War.
There you go.
And it's about, and when I told TL about it, he's like, he's a bit negative for me, that guy. I haven't read the book yet, but just like the Stoics.
As in war, so in life. That's what it says.
Yeah.
That's his saying, yeah.
I don't know whether he's saying life is a battle or that's a metaphor he's using to... If everyone... This is about problem solving, right? So if we're looking at problems and it's not a negative month, but problem is a negative word anyway. If that month is about that, then...
I'll take a little bit different step on that, and I'll ask you guys this. So we all know every human does something for the gain of pleasure or avoidance of pain. And we are generally tipped to one side or the other. We'll do things generally to gain pleasure, or we'll majority for avoidance pain. So if we were to avoid pain, wouldn't we use words like battle, discipline. And if we were looking for pleasure, wouldn't we use different words? Possibly.
Gee, good line, mate. Today listen. I have to say, man, over the past few podcasts, you have improved tremendously.
Mate, he knew
Like,
the Me Too
Gain of
movement.
pleasure, mate. Gain of pleasure.
He knew the Me Too movement was coming, and he had to just go impress her.
You're the one that wore the pink shirt.
Do they see?
Listen, mate, Meg doesn't say much, but be careful, mate. That line that she gave you totally destroyed you, okay? So be careful.
And she knows to
wasn't
use
having
No,
a
that
go.
language.
if I were you, I wouldn't ask for more.
I'm digging the hole.
Because life is a battlefield and you just lost. All right, so be careful.
It's not about the battle, mate. It's who wins the war.
Okay, all right. Okay, so who's got something next?
I'm not till 16.
Okay, what do you see in 16?
Ask for help.
Ah,
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
I had 15 and it was...
but is
goes back to
it
what
is
we
it
said
ego
before.
that's really, stopping people
100%.
from asking?
Ego, pride, social conditioning. Like men, for example, I think we're getting a lot better at it, but we're not meant to ask for help or talk
Yeah.
to anyone. Or
Yeah.
I don't know if we've all got to be better at asking for help, but I think,
Yeah, I
the
think-
page is about pointing out that it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good point.
I think it's both genders though. Yes, it is in males, but I've also had lots of different conversations with males and females recently about, different circumstances, and the common theme is that people feel like they're failing, like they're speaking up, but they're feeling like they're failing because they're speaking up.
Yeah, it's
And
fair
it's like,
yeah.
no, you're actually...
Because they're asking for help.
Yes. They feel like
Still,
they're...
social conditioning has made it a sign of weakness. And even though heroes get on Facebook and isn't that the good one? Oh, you can call me anytime on Are You OK Day. Anyone who's struggling out there, call me anytime. You don't fucking call anyone to check on them to see if they're okay, but
Yeah.
you've made your Facebook post, so you're all right.
But it does go back to that emotional intelligence that Chris was talking about before. It's not always that people are going to say, hey, I'm struggling. It's sometimes the person that says to you, hey, are you okay?
Well, it doesn't have
Or-
to go on that deeper level, though, guys. If you're struggling at work with something, like people won't ask for help with.
Yes, true.
We've taken it to the nth degree with people struggling in life, and yes, it's 100% true, and probably the most important time to ask for help. But the page is very broad. Ask for help with anything. I can't pretend I know everything about owning a business because I own a business. I can't pretend I know everything about listing a property because I've done it before. You need to be able to, and it's very important for the new guys and the younger guys because depending on their office environment, they may feel scared to ask for help, or that's where the pride and the ego comes in. But shame on the people that make you feel that way, but you've also got to be able to overcome that. And if it's not inside your own office, ring somebody else because there's plenty of people who will pick the phone up.
Yeah. I think we've all got it to a degree of that inability to reach out to ask for help, whether it's emotional or through work or whatever you're going through at the time. And there's no secret, you guys know that I struggle asking for help. And I don't know if it's in my upbringing or it just because I feel like I'm failing. I don't want to ask for help because I shouldn't be failing, whatever it may be. So
I gave up a long time ago on that. I don't know when it was or why it was, but I got no issue generally, and sometimes ad nauseum, sometimes too much picking up the phone and asking for help rather than backing myself. But we got enough shit to worry about rather than trying to solve every issue. That there's someone sitting right there that can help you. I know we talked about before about blowing your own nose. It's not that, but asking for help is not blowing your own nose. And I guess that there comes a bit of a contradiction between those 2 days.
no, but I think blowing your nose, go out and do the work. Ask for advice, go out and do the work. But you touched on something before, Cam, that you said about, we wait for Are You OK Day. But you and Thomas wouldn't let me leave a room a few weeks back until I said what was going on.
Because we're brothers.
Right, but you wouldn't stop. You were like,
gonna
mate, we're
get
not leaving
physical.
here. We're not leaving here until you tell us. And I didn't want to share it at that time, and we did, and it's great that we did. But it's understanding when someone, and like you said before, Megs, having that understanding when someone might be struggling, and just reach out and push them that little bit harder. Say, mate, come on, you can open up.
We're all on that to be more emotionally aware and more energetically aware of other people, but the page is about you and yourself. Someone might not be aware that you are, or even if they are aware, you still go and ask for help. You don't sit in a corner sulking and waiting for someone to come over to you. That's not the way to do it either,
It's true.
It's not.
True.
We're not begging for attention or craving attention and we're going to make a scene out of it. If you need help, ask someone.
Who's got the next page?
I'm not till 20.
Yeah, well, I just want to do very quickly 19th, okay? Because stay focused on the present was a very big thing for me. It's something that I learned only this year, and that is to, whatever happens, always try and focus on just the next 5 minutes. You receive a bad email, sometimes it just can just get you off. But then when you start saying to yourself, no, that's not going to rob me from the next 5 minutes, you regain some sense of sanity, if you will, and you can deal with that, with everything that you have in you. And so calming things down by focusing on just this present moment. And one of the things that I learned is really that next 5 minutes, nothing else. All I want is the next 5 minutes to be the center of my attention.
Yeah.
It's like all of this stuff, though, easier said than done. I read that today, and then someone walked into my office today and got me triggered right before I had to go to an appointment, to the point where that was at 11 o'clock. I was still triggered when I got here 4 hours later after having done other appointments. And the whole way I'm driving down the freeway going, stay in the present, stay in the present. Because I was still so
It did work.
triggered. No, it didn't work. But just got me, and it was straight after reading.
You stayed in the present. Your present was anger.
You didn't get out of the present. That was the problem.
I let it go. I didn't deal with it early enough, so it manifested itself. Just still yelling at myself, mate.
Can I tell you, this book's helped me a number of times in just short period we've been doing it. Even today, bad news on a listing, whatever it is, and I was pissed off big time. But then I took the big picture. I've gone, okay, what did I do wrong? What can I do better? How can we change things? What's our next move? And then move forward from there. It's just find that issue, overcome the issue, and move forward with the issue.
That's right.
There's no way I can say this without sounding facetious, but that's a big step for you.
It is. It's huge.
Because
But by the same token, the issue that we spoke about a few weeks ago has probably pushed me forward a lot more than I would have if I didn't open up to you guys back then. So, yeah, it's all comes back and it works its way forward. So,
because, I mean, the listings are on a minor scale of things. That's what we talk about when Plato's view. Like,
so my mindset...
You miss a listing, you go next. You asked me the other day, I missed a listing, I vented for 4 seconds.
And you had put a lot of effort into that listing too,
and then,
shitload of effort.
And then 4 seconds after I vented, I'm like, cool, on to the next. And then in our job, mate, that's all you can do, because there's much bigger problems in the world. So,
all right. So my immediate thought was, okay, how can I attract 10 more like that? So instead of, which would have ruined maybe a whole day, it ruined maybe 30 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's the answer. You can, there's millions of ways for you to get out of it.
Yeah.
The thing is not to be caught by it.
Yeah.
All right, what
June
do we
the
have
20th,
next?
well, June the 20th, calm is contagious,
like
and
that.
it talks about how you react under pressure or when things go wrong or in front of your teams as leaders, and how the calm that you show can be contagious and reflect through the whole team. What I don't think it mentions there, and which I've written here, is I've written calm is contagious, so is anxiety. The opposite is so true.
Yeah.
If you are and that's probably more important point to get across, a leader can read that and go, oh yeah, being calm is good for everyone. But you've got to understand how bad not being calm in those situations is for everyone. We all saw that during
Last
COVID.
year,
in our
absolutely. That's what I brought it back to last year, straight away, mate.
the different ways people reacted, but it's understanding that every energy you have is contagious. Whether I've written anxiety there, but you could have written 100 different things. Happy is contagious, sad is contagious, angry is contagious.
Yeah.
It should be your energy is contagious, because depending on how strong you are in that sort of area, you can wipe out a whole room just with a frown.
But I think the important thing about calm, the word calm, is regardless of what's happening around us, calm would be the best default response to lead to.
100%.
So, despite of everything, calm is contagious. That's what they teach the Navy SEALs as a maxim.
But why is it so hard to do? Like in this room, I probably would only think of Megan to be the only one to do that. All of us, maybe because we men, we'd be jumping. We would be into reactive mode. We would do whatever it takes.
The discipline comes because I don't want to put words into Meg's mouth, but I'm sure every situation you don't just have an instant calm over you. I think what Meg's is good at from an outside point of view is not making any decisions or talking until the calm has come. Now, for me, that'll be 6 weeks. So nothing will get done.
She knows how to hide bodies too.
Yeah, I had to drive. I'm only just feeling calm now over that dickhead at 11
I think
o'clock
because-
this morning.
And I think we respond because we are very similar blokes and we're very passionate about what we do. So to stay calm about something that triggers us very quickly is a little bit harder. However, I think it's a learnt trait. I think it's something that you don't have naturally. I think it's something that you learn.
Do you think that passionate people are people who can't stay calm?
About things they're passionate about, absolutely.
That would be, no, but that'd be saying that Mags isn't a passionate person.
No, she's learnt to do it. How long have you been general manager? 432 years or something?
7.
7? And before that, you were
Since she
working in
was
the
12.
franchise as a direct PA for quite a long... So you've seen a lot of sort of roller coaster rides, right?
Yeah, I think it's not even to do with the work side of it. It's just how I've been brought up in my family.
Okay,
I think,
okay.
like my mum is not a very calm person, but my dad is
Steve's pretty
exceptionally
chilled.
calm. Like probably
The
never,
yin and the yang, right?
probably never yelled at me in my entire life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
He told me I was a useless cricketer when I was 14. That was
but he would have said it
he
very
was very
nicely.
calm.
Yeah.
He's Meg's dad.
Yeah.
He's truthful too.
Yeah. Oh, no. I remember
is.
we were watching someone bat and I said, that was a dumb shot. He said, don't you talk, Cam. I was standing beside him. I'll
Yeah,
never forget it.
He is. He's very. He tells you how it is, but there's no need for ranting and raving. It's just there's the message.
Cool.
You've got it.
So do you think you've taken a lot of traits from your dad?
I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah, like I can have my mum's side, definitely.
Yeah.
But
Sure, Pete can tell
only
us
when
that.
it's valid.
Yeah, right.
Not many people cop that.
Right. Okay, so what else have you got?
Take a walk. I like take a walk.
Which page was that? Which
21.
day? 21.
Take a walk. It just says, just get away from the hustle and bustle and just so to help you clear your head and appreciate what's around you for whatever it may be, get some oxygen into your system or whatever it is, just take a walk.
Right. What about...
more often.
I should. I should. It's usually to
All right,
the
Meg, what's your next day?
takeaway shop.
Mine was the next one actually, which was the definition of insanity.
So
But
22nd?
Yeah, I just wrote 2 initials on the page, which was AH, and it just means Atomic Habits. And it's another book that I've read, but basically just says if you want to change something, you don't need to, like, you're not going to go from 100 kilos to 80 overnight. So if you want to go from 100 kilos to 99, how do you do that? Like, do it in small increments. And one of the lines that they use in that book is something along the lines of, if you want to become a healthy person, do the habits that a healthy person would do. If you want to become a runner, do the habits that a runner would do.
Yeah.
If you want to become whatever it is, follow the traits of a person that would do that thing.
I think it also talks about, on the flip side, understanding that if you're not happy with where you're at, but you keep repeating the same patterns that have gotten you to where you're at, you can't be annoyed when things don't change or
Yeah.
surprised when things don't
I
change.
think the
for you.
first step is identifying that.
Yeah.
And then the next step is what do you actually do about it?
Yeah.
I punched a
Nice.
wall and it hurt. Maybe if I punch it again, it won't hurt so much next time.
Yeah, you'll be numb.
It's not going to happen. I'm not till 28. I don't know.
Yeah, you forgot about the 25th, which is always say less than necessary.
No, we skipped
Just
that one.
reminding
No,
you.
good.
Talk about the
28th.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I picked it out because it hit home close to me. It's about making sure that if you're going to criticise yourself, it's constructive criticism, not just talking down to yourself and bashing yourself unnecessarily. I can't remember the huge word that it uses on that page that I couldn't
Flagellation.
pronounce. Flagellation, yeah. I knew there was a big word
I
there.
looked it up.
It was sounded like what I did when I walked outside before. But
Well, stop whipping yourself, right?
too much flatulation is. No, but we've got to be careful with the way we talk to ourselves. It's okay being self-critical. It's all right being self-analytical. You can't pump your own tyres too much. You need to understand when you're doing something wrong. But there's a difference between, bug it up there, what can I do better, to talking to yourself like a piece of shit. And I've been guilty of that in the past. And
There's a great book called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. Absolutely fantastic book. If you haven't read it, if someone has an issue with that, great book to read.
yeah, so that was all. Just be careful how we talk to ourselves. We say things to ourselves that we would never say to anybody else. Well, we would on Facebook, but
Flatulations.
it's too much flatulation. 29 we spoke about earlier, no excuses. It's pretty self-explanatory. Stop blaming everyone else and have a look in the mirror. It's not that hard. I don't think it even should have to be mentioned because we go on about it so often, but it should be common sense, but just stop. It's no one else's fault. Is it, TL? Is it anybody else's fault?
No. No, you are part of the dance.
I loved June 30. I thought June 30 was a very good way to finish the month.
Yeah.
Very, very good way to finish the month. The obstacle is the way.
Great book.
Don't ask God for an easy life. Ask him for the strength to handle a challenging one. It's you want those obstacles to build a resilience and education to overcome those issues next time you see them. So you're just going to be better and better and better and better. I love the last page. I think,
and also be patient. I think what he's saying is, it's an opportunity for you to practice patience. Whenever there's those obstacles, it's for you to take first the responsibility to deal with it, but then just be patient. Deal with it.
Yeah.
Not hide from it, not run away from it, you know? Because the moment you turn around and run away, it's actually following you.
To take action towards it, though. But so once you realise it's just an obstacle, you've got to take action, which is be solutions focused, work out what the lesson is in it. I wrote a line that I learned, I don't know who taught me it, but action diminishes all negative emotion. And I've used that, and I teach it to the guys all the time. If something goes wrong, so you miss that listing, right? You jump on the phone and make 50 prospecting calls. All of a sudden you don't care about that listing you've missed because you've taken action to solve the problem of not having that listing.
Yeah.
It talks about the action of, someone does something wrong by you, work out how that situation occurred. Talks about you lose all your stuff on your computer. That's great because you get to start over again and do an even better job next time. It's taking almost immediate action because if you dwell on the obstacle, you won't feel better until you do something about it.
Yeah.
So let's do something a bit different from the other podcasts we've done. What was your biggest take out
Like
of
Chris's
this one?
wine.
Let's start with Meg, our lady.
I think my biggest thing is it's not the problem, it's how you deal with it. So it's easy to point the finger and blame somebody else, or it's easy to say, oh, well, this happened or that happened, but it's not about what actually happens to you in your life. It's about how you, one, deal with it, but two, learn from it.
Okay. What about you, Chris?
Similar. Don't shut up. Since when do you make the bloody rules?
The professional
The
fence
rule
sitter
was
over
I couldn't agree with Chris, not he couldn't agree with me.
Yeah, exactly right.
Does it sound like a second restaurant, or does it sound like a third one?
The first is just getting more expensive. We've gone from Macca's to Muse, so that's all right.
You've lost weight, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, I've seen it in your shoulders.
Yeah,
He's trying to sell you, bro.
yeah, you like that.
It's going to be vegetable.
Oh no, I'm still going to be eating the
celery.
food. I don't care. It's just, I got a lot out of this month. It was it's all on us. Take responsibility. Do the hard stuff that we avoid. Really listen. Take the time to listen to people to understand the other perspective. Really don't wish for an easy life because nothing good comes from easy. So wish for a hard life, but want the strength to have the strength to sort of overcome it and the intelligence to overcome it.
Nice. Okay.
Understand the bad stuff's going to happen and learn to dance like hell.
Yeah,
Pretty much the whole month.
That's nice. And for me, it was mainly whatever we do, always aim to become a better human being. Awesome. Oh, well, thanks very much, guys. Thanks very much,
Thank
lady.
you.
And welcome to your first podcast with us.
Thank you.
Wine was rubbish.